Okay, so today is lesson 7.3, linear functions. This is going to directly relate to yesterday's assignment. Yesterday, as we just graded our homework, we had statements and we wrote y equals. I want to make sure people are understanding this. This, our equation that we are writing, this is the relationship between our x and our y. If my x is my input, y is my output. Our function is if x was 0, y would go out to be 1. If x was 1, I'd get 3. If this was 2, I'd get 5. If this was 3, I'd get 7. And we're trying to find out what the relationship is. In elementary, we always looked at this and we just always try to say, oh, how do I get from x to y? What is x and y? And we might find out, like I know in 5th grade, we were able to say, oh, it's times 2 plus 1. Well, we're going to take that now, since we're in 8th grade, we'll get bigger. We're going to write that function as an equation, and we write it as y equals 2x plus 1. The reason is, even though the rule is times 2 and add 1, when we write it as a function, remember, y is your output, x was your input. The reason we'll write it as this line is because when I graph this, now that I have y equals 2x plus 1, I can graph this as a line. That's what we're going to do today. When I graph it as a line, it gives me all the possible solutions. That is why we do a lot of graphing. Because I don't want to just have to try and figure something out. I can visually see everything we need. So, I'm going to have 4 bonus questions right here to start off with seeing, do we understand how we write linear equations? These 4 are for a sucker. So I have 4 people that are going to earn this that are focusing and paying attention with us. So, if I pulled up way too many, but that's okay. I'll eat one.
You always eat one for
I know, it's like 5 suckers I've had today. So, first one. Here's my line. Right along there. Now I'm going to erase it because I messed up. But which one of these equations do you feel is being represented by that line? And then can you tell me why?
Can I have Cohen?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Rylan, do you have an idea? Okay.
Y equals 2x plus 1.
This is not 2x plus 1. Tyler?
The second one is 2y equals 2x.
Well, what about this one?
It's like 6x. 5 plus 6x plus 3. Y equals 6.
No.
I can't see from that fast.
4 feet away from you, right there.
Wait. There's a picture here. Alejandra?
Is it 1 half? Y equals 1 half plus 3?
Y equals 1/2 x plus 3 is correct. Now, is Alejandra just amazing, just randomly guess that?
Yes.
Good guess, Alejandra. Alejandra, can you explain to us, how did you know that's the equation?
Yes.
Maybe better explain.
So like y equals mx and then plus b.
So we use our equation y equals mx plus b.
The y-intercept is 3, and then if you see, it goes
2 to this next point. So all we're going to do today is this simple. You're going to have to identify two main parts. Y-intercept, that is our B. She said it was at right here, which is, this coordinate is 0, 3. X is always 0 on our y-intercept. So I look across the y coordinate 3. So we put that as 3. And then our slope, visually, we look and we find 2 points. And we do rise all over run. So I was here. To get to this dot, I went up 1 and I went over 2. So my slope was 1 over 2. When we write our equations, we've done this multiple times. Y equals, you are going to fill in the blank. What is the slope? What is my y-intercept? But the y and the x will always be there. So, using what we just discussed, can someone tell me, or want to give this a try, on the second equation? I'm going to walk through part of it with you. Alright, Michael, if we look at the second one, what is my y-intercept? It's 5. It's right here. Y-intercept is 5. How about our slope? Close. Not negative. What kind of slope do I have? It's a positive. It's going up and to the right, correct? So that means my slope is going to have to be still 2 over 1, or we can just say 2. How did Michael get the slope to be 2 over 1? Charles? No? One more person than Michael's going to explain it to us. Bryce?
Because it's like in the middle of the lines in between the lines of the graph.
Kinda.
You don't know, like 3 where it intersects in the corner, and then it's like.
You know which one? Here, show me where you're talking.
Like, right here.
Okay. That is right on. All you have to do is find 2 points on my line that I know. Andrew just said, well, I know that point. We knew what the y-intercept was. Once we know those 2 points, now I'm going to do my rise from here to here was 2. Actually, I might give it to you because that's pretty good. And then from here to here is 1. Rise was 2, run was 1. So I have slope is 2. Who can write our equation? Oh, I'm going to have to give out an extra one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andrew.
What?
What would be my equation now? I just gave you y-intercept is 5 and slope is 2. What would be my equation? Tyler?
Y equals 2 over 1.
Plus what?
5.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Do you have to say 2 over 1?
No, you can just say 2.
You can just say 2.
No, you don't. You got that one.
Okay,
Nothing.
next one. Someone needs to tell me my y-intercept. Someone needs to tell me my slope.
Can we get more than 1 second?
Nathaniel, what is my y-intercept? Okay, it's right here, 4. What is my slope, Nathaniel? And one quick question. Is this a positive or negative slope?
Negative.
So I'd have to say negative 1/2. If we check this, here's my point. I'm going to look left to right. I know that spot right there. So now checking, I went down 1, so -1, and I'm going to go over 2. Negative 1 over 2. Writing the equation for this one now. Who can tell us what the equation should be?
You can.
Aiden.
Y equals negative 1/2. You should make me 1/2.
You said
Y plus.
Because got that. You getting help?
Go on, what are you helping him with?
Oh,
You have to put the X where it's like the 1/2 is.
Good. If I just put this, I have to simplify it. Negative 1/2 plus 4, I'd say y equals 3.5. So I have to put the x in there because that is my coordinate. Cohen, I'm at you. I'll tell you what, Cohen, you can choose on this one. Can you tell me, Cohen, what is the y-intercept on this equation? Okay, so 2. What would be my slope? You can come up here closer if you need.
Very bad words. Shut up.
Hey.
This is the first time I actually tell this.
Where's the second point?
Right here.
Okay, so mark that point. Okay. So I just need to find the distance between 2 points. Positive or negative?
Positive. That's a
Okay, slope do we have?
negative.
Going down to the right.
It's
Okay.
up in there.
Looking up here. Cohen actually saw, I want to make sure everyone sees it because he did something good. He said, I have this point, and then he said, but there's also this one. It doesn't matter. I could have used any 2 points. I just always have to simplify. When he got to this one, he said, well, it's down 1. It's over 1. So it's just 1. And at first, he left it just positive 1. But then we said, what type of slope do we have? Positive, negative. It's going down and to the right, so it was our negative. Remember, left to right, when I look at here, since I had to go down, you say negative 1. So that gave us a negative slope. So, writing this equation. Oh, this one's open.
I'll take it. I'll answer.
I don't want you guys to get bad stuff. Alright, so, what would be my equation, Blake?
It'd be y equals negative 1x plus 2. That's 7.
Now, I didn't put the 1 in there.
That's okay.
That's okay. If I don't put the 1, it means the same thing. Alright. Open up your foldable to linear function, and this is on your sheet. It says, a linear function is a function whose graph is a non-vertical line. You guys remember we talked about that horizontal or the vertical line test?
No.
Vertical line test, if I look at this one, I go across, it can only touch the line at one place at a time. So, a linear function cannot be a vertical line, cannot go up and down. Because it did not pass the vertical line test. And that would mean my x would have multiple outputs. A linear function can be written in the form y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is our y-intercept. This, we only have a few examples for today's assignment, but this is how we're going to do this. The first one. Charles, where's your foldable? It should be out so you're taking notes with us. No, this is our foldable. Come on. Okay, the first example we are going to do has a graph and everything's graphed for us. It's in your foldable, so you should be able to see it. Step 1, we are going to identify our slope. Remember, slope is rise over run. Just like you did, we're going to choose 2 points on our graph, and we just identify the rise and run. So here, I'm going to use these two. I go up 1, 2, 3. So right now my rise is 3. In my run, I went over 2. So my run was 2. My slope is 3/2. Step 2. Identify our y-intercept. What is my y-intercept on this first one? -3. If you're looking at your graph, here's my y-axis. I cross right there. It is at -3. Y-intercept, -3. So I'm able to go ahead and say slope was 3/2. Y-intercept was -3. What do you think my equation would be? Kaden, I'm going to pick on you because I know you were gone for a day. I want to see if you're catching on to this. What would be my equation?
Y equals 3/2 x minus 3.
And then I messed up. Kaden, that's perfect. Good job. Here you go. So, slope was 3/2. Y-intercept's -3. Y equals 3/2 x minus 3. Charles, are you focusing with me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it right now. Come on. Okay, this is one example that you guys will have to do today. They're going to give you a graph. It's already graphed. You're going to have to write the equation. What this equation tells me, there's a reason we're doing this. This should be a review. You guys should have been like, hey, wait a minute, Mr. Sis. I remember earlier this year we worked on. He's in the nurse's office right now.
I'm sorry, what?
He's in the nurse's office.
Okay, thank you.
We've done this before, where we found out how to write the equation of a line. The reason we are reviewing it now is this isn't just a linear line or a linear equation. This is a linear function. So this, no, focus with me. Focus on me, please. Okay. That's why we should be more respectful. So, this is the linear function. This tells me if I have an input-output table, and I say x, and I say y, this is input, and this tells me output. With this, this is the relationship. This is the rule. The rule is my output is 3/2 of my input minus 3. So my output is 3 less than 3/2 of the input. I could go ahead and do this equation every time and try and come up with multiple answers. Oh man, I'd have to do, if I put 2 in there, 2 times 3/2. Or, since I graph this line, I just go here and say, here's one of the coordinate points on the line. It's 2, 0. Input 2, output 0. I did 4 3s on the line. Input 4, outputs 3. 0, 3. Input 0, output is -3. Any other ones we know easy. Far graph went on. All I have to do is look at the line and put any of its coordinates down. That is the purpose of this. Okay. What if I don't have the graph? And all I have is my input-output table. You will see one of these. The way we solve this is the same way. I still have to identify my slope. I still have to identify my y-intercept. Now, on here, I can see, I would draw this on your foldable as well. I would write underneath here, since my input is x and y, I'm going to write the coordinates down for it. This one would be like -3, 9, -2, 7, -1, 5. Just make sure you guys are following. What would the last coordinate be? Go ahead and say it if you know it.
What? Negative, no. 0, 3.
0, 3.
Did you just say it's just
Now.
3? Yes. It's not just 3, it's 0, 3. Shut up, Blake. Stop asking.
Shh. Okay, Braden, choose one of these coordinates.
Alright. -2.
Okay. -2, 7.
It's going off.
Did you already get the office one?
I knew it. I knew it. Going to come back.
Alright, so one of my coordinates is -2, 7. Bryce, choose one of the other ones. Okay. Now, all I have to do to find slope is choose any two coordinates. It does not matter which two I choose. That's why I let Braden randomly choose and I let Bryce randomly choose. Now, I'm going to write them in order from left to right. -2 is less than -1, so it came first. So I'm going to say -2, 7. And this is -1, 5. When we do this, nothing ever changes. This is x. This is y. Every coordinate, when we list them, is x, y. -1, 5. X, y. But because... Are you guys copying this down in your notebook?
Yes, sir.
Hope so. If I walk around, I'm going to see it.
I got notebooks or
Your foldables should be in there. Now, because -2, 7 came first, that's my x1 and y1. This is my x2, y2. It's all because of which order they came in. To find slope, here's our equation. y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. y2, we just look at our coordinates. We chose to use this, so I'd say 5 minus 7. x2 was -1 minus -2. And 5 minus 7 is -2. 1 minus a negative. What happens when we minus a negative?
You can
add
get a
You
positive.
add a positive. Good, Damari. So add a positive.
0.
-1 plus 2 is
It's row.
+1. -2 over 1 can still simplify to -2. That is our slope. Nothing new. We actually took a whole unit test over finding slope. Y-intercept. This one's fairly easy. Y-intercept, our y-intercept. Anytime we have a y-intercept, you have to remember our x-coordinate is 0. Because it does not move away from the y-axis. So it has to land on the y-axis. So my x-coordinate is always 0. So what I do is, I look back at my table and find out when x is 0, that's going to tell me what my y-intercept is. So here, my y-intercept is 3. Now let's put it all together
I feel like having
for
Raspberry.
blue raspberry.
Oh, that's the best flavor.
Oh,
I got
that's a good one.
mango.
What would be
You got
my
mango what?
I got mango.
what would be my equation?
Not just mango suck.
What would be my equation?
For this.
Brayden, what are we gonna put?
Y equals negative 2 x plus, what was the y intercepting?
Negative 2.
3 plus 6.
Our equation is now y equals negative 2x plus 3.
That's karma.
Andrew.
Drop that.
Alright, last one. We're going to do one more. I'm going to skip this one just because we were going to do it as class, but I want us to make sure you guys can fill out your foldable. So, look up here and we'll do this quick, and we'll be done. This one, we have two things. I have the input-output table, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 for advertising, and when I do that, 2, 6, 10, 14, 18 comes out. Like, focus up here, please. This is still my x and this is my y. I have a graph. I could go ahead and write this equation. It says I have to write and graph an equation. So I'm going to have to graph it, I'm going to have to write the equation, and then I have to interpret the slope and y-intercept. So I have to identify all of it. No matter what we're doing today, your goal should be able to find the slope and y-intercept in order to write our equation. And our equation is y equals something. The two ways we could do this. I can either forget about the graph for right now and look at this, my input-output table, and do what we just did up here. Find the slope off of it, find my y-intercept, write my equation, and then go and graph. Or, I'm going to kind of use a shortcut. Remember, if this is x and y, just like we did earlier, this gives me coordinates. What's my first set of coordinates?
0, 2.
We have 0, 2. Then we have 2, 6, 4, 10, 6, 14, and 8, 18. Since I have coordinates, I'm just going to go ahead and graph them. 0, 2, 0, 2. And then I'm going to 2, 6. 4, 10. 6, guys. 6, 14. Going. Going. We're focused on this. Not side conversation. I now have my coordinates in, and all I have to do is draw my line connecting the points. By doing that, by using my input-output table to list the coordinates and graph them and connect my line, I've already done one of the major parts of the assignment right here, graph the linear equation. I've done that. Now that I have the graph and I can visually see it, if I zoom in for you, what would be my y-intercept?
3.
2. If I visually look here, there's 0, so 1, 2. Or I could have looked right here. X was 0, so y was 2. What is my slope? I look between 2 points of my lines, and I see, I'm going to use these two because they're in the middle. From here to there is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 4. And from here to here, I went over 2. Can 4 over 2 simplify to 2 over 1? Or we could just say 2. So for the last time, this is cotton candy. What?
Don't say it like that ever again.
Like, what is my equation? Bryce?
Y equals 2x plus 3.
Perfect. Alright, here's what you're going to do for me. Today. Oh, I need a couple people to be listening.
Don't flip that at me.
Alright, your assignment due for tomorrow. 7-3, or 0.3. On number 1 and 2, you're combining yesterday's homework and today's. It gives you the rule. Oh, I'm talking over some people that are not paying attention. The output is 10 less the input. You are going to write both 1 and 2 as y equals something. That was exactly what you did yesterday for your homework. After you've written the equation, you must graph it. So once you have the equation, mark down your y-intercept, go up from your slope. On number 8, 9, 10, and 11, use the graph or table to write the linear function that relates y to x. So for number 8, you're going to want to find what is the slope, what's the y-intercept, and then I'd say y equals something. On number 10, slope, y-intercept, then I'd say y equals my equation. Number 9, slope, y-intercept, y equals what? Number 11, what is my slope? What's my y-intercept? Y equals, yes. And that is what we are working on for tomorrow.
You're what?
Any questions? All right.